Lucky, I don't like this backdrop. Makes me look like a darned amateur. Like I'm hanging out in some dude's basement. Is this thing on? Oh, hello. My name's Stan Partuce, Barbarian and part-time sports commentator. And welcome to the after show for The Pit and its mind-blowing conclusion, Pit Bottom. If you haven't watched those episodes, well, you better get the hell out of here and go watch them. I'm just kidding. You're welcome anyway, but it wouldn't make sense if you watched the darned episodes. First up is DM's Lounge. We're going to just sit and watch them fancy pants DMs shoot their mouths off as they always do. And then after that, we're going to get into the locker room and talk to some real heroes. Well, that's about it for now. Let's head on into the DM's Lounge.
All right. Here we are in the DM's Lounge. I'm catching up with Julia once again, who was commentator on The Pit. Thanks, Julia, for taking the time to do this once again. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to see you. All right. So I thought of a few questions about how the battle went and maybe ways to improve or just thoughts that I'd have. So the first is this. I liked the gibbering mouther in the pit. I thought it was, a pit is odd. What's the bottom of the pit, and an aberration gibbering mouther seemed really good to me. I'm wondering, what else do you think might have fit the pit? What are good monsters to lurk there?
I think Fighting Pit always gives me very classic, almost Colosseum-like feels. So a creature like that, something almost mythical, could have been really interesting. Mm-hmm. It also could be interesting to have a couple kobolds in a trench coat, honestly, just on humor factor.
That I like that idea, right? That's cool. And coming out of the shadows, there's a giant form, and then it's just three kobolds in a trench coat. Yeah, nice. Okay, cool. The second thing that I thought about was, I thought this battle would go in two stages, and it kind of did. But after the pit fight was over, I wanted the party to engage with the people outside of the pit, and so then the problem was how do I get the people out of the pit? And I'd use this threat of another gibbering mouther, Judy, right? People are chanting Judy, and then that never came to fruition because they got out of the pit, which is what I wanted. But could that have been done in a better way?
I think almost by nature of having your heroes in a pit, they're very likely to naturally want to get out of that situation. So I think that naturally lends itself to two stages. I could also see instability in terms of a rock slide almost, because it was a pit in the ground of, maybe people around had been destabilizing the ground because it's been used. But I think just very naturally, heroes don't like staying in the pit that they were thrown in. And so typically they'll start to flee on their own.
Right. They're going to get out of the pit anyway. Yeah. This is interesting. This reminds me of maybe this is a similar anecdote or not, and this is not T&D related. It was about when Canada had introduced their $2 coin, which had two parts to it, right? It had the outside and then the center, and people were taking the coins and popping out the center, right? The $2, and it was the Canadian government was getting worried about it, and they knew that France had similar coins, and so they talked to France. I mean, this is the story I heard. And said, people are popping out the centers of the $2 coins, and so the French people are so it's costing them $2 to do this, and they're yeah, but we don't want it to happen, and the French are just well, they'll stop, they're losing $2 every time they do it. The appeal of that is not there. They'll get out. Yeah, maybe that's a great point. They're going to get out of the pit anyway. I like it. Okay. I think that I could have done a better job involving the boss, Frank Bishop. Although I'm going to bring him back sometime because I like his character. I've got this whole backstory for Frank. But he didn't do a lot. And, I had him kind of run around. He was on the back of the Ogre Howdah. And part of it, I was worried about Selk I didn't want to come in and crush him. Maybe I just should have done that. Maybe the battle's set. DM, just go for it. I don't know. What do you think?
I very rarely think the battle is set when you make it. I am a big fan of changing things on the fly, changing monster HP. I fudge rolls. My players know, I'm pretty sure, but I don't tell them when or how I do it. I think that's part of the magic of the improv nature of D&D. Like, nothing's ever set. I don't love the idea of, well, I guess I made this encounter, so now they're gonna die, unless it's been well telegraphed. And I think Frank Bishop coming back, it was a great first encounter of this local crime lord, slumlord kind of character. If this was something you'd been building to, I would be a little concerned at how little he was there. But having a character like that just have, witty repartee, now Frank Bishop's going to be someone who comes back and they're like, oh, you put us in the pit, we're going to come get you.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun.
That's an interesting take because I was talking to our friend Bill, aka Kyrie, on Discord, and so we had a kind of a similar conversation about something else, and he was like the opposite. He's like, I don't jack with my characters. I'll do all my roles as open roles, so people don't know. They know what's coming to them, and I think there are people who play both ways, and I think both ways are legit. I think I'm more with you, and I got that. That what kind of allowed me to feel okay with that was it was an interview that I heard actually on How Not to DM, Derek's channel, who was on our channel, with Sly Flourish, Mike Shea, who had this whole concept of the dials. I'm just going to dial it up, dial it down, and did that routinely. And I think, yeah, you're right, that's legit. So I guess I dialed back Frank. We didn't get to see a lot of Frank. I was going to have Frank in an episode I ran yesterday, but that kind of got derailed. So I'm just going to keep on trying to bring back Frank in different ways. Anyway, okay. So final question, and I've been obsessing on, not obsessing. I mean, I've been thinking about this because I think it's kind of silly and fun. Is like, what is on the backside of a gibbering mouther? And I've voiced my answer. I'll let you know what it is, but you let me know. What do you think?
This is maybe a bit of a joke answer. I think more mouths. It's just more mouther.
Yeah, right. So I guess I think there's been two answers. Like, everybody has said more mouths except for me, and I think there's a bunch of butts back there because, he's got teeth. Where does it go? It's got to go. It's to me, teeth suggests a more advanced digestive system, which is going to have a beginning, middle, and an end. But we'll never know. I wonder who wrote. It was probably Gygax who wrote the initial gibbering mouther, and that secret has died with him, unfortunately. It's one of life's great mysteries.
One of life's great mysteries.
Okay, that's all I have got. Did you want to add anything else, Julia, or are we done here?
I think that's pretty good. I loved the fight in the pit. I thought it was really fun, and you don't see a ton of level change fights. So I really liked how vertical that battle got.
Yeah, I liked it. It's easy to like your own stuff, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I liked it. Okay, that's it. Julia, thanks so much. I really appreciate you being here again, and I can hardly wait to have you on again. You're awesome. So that it was great. Thank you so much. All right, so we just heard from those two half-ludent DMs, and I think I heard enough of them. Here I am. Right, I managed to catch up outside of the locker room with Eve, who played Kasny. So before you get in there and take your shower, why don't we go over a little bit about? Tell me, you were up on that gibbering mouther. What was that like?
Really tall. Really tall.
Yeah, I kind of would have, I'd seen them before. I never taken on one myself. I've seen them from a distance, and I didn't realize, I thought them spread out and squishy but you're saying that they were he was a tall.
Solid.
And, I was talking and wondering about this. What's on the bottom of them gibbering mouthers? Is it a whole bunch of butts, or is it more mouths?
It's more mouths.
More
It's more
mouths.
mouths.
Yeah, I would have thought. Well, so yeah. So where the hell does it poop? That's like the question.
I don't want to
It
know,
doesn't. It
Stan.
just keeps on eating.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
All right. That's fair. That's making me hungry just thinking about it. And then so Kasny, from the gibbering mouther, then you went up and then climbed up poor old Bill. He and I used to know each other back in the day, and now he's dead at the bottom of a
Ooh.
pit. Didn't hate to see him go. Although it couldn't have happened to the better guy when Frank and I had a loose affiliation back in the day. We ran with a group called the Bile Raven Desperados, and
Ooh.
yeah, he showed his true colors back then, and that's when old Stan, took his leave. But enough about me. Tell me more about, wasn't that scary up at the top of the pit there? You're on Bill. What was going through your mind?
Just hang on for dear life, because I was way up high on that Malver, and then the pit was even further
Yeah.
down. And yeah, I'm a tabaxi, but I only
Yeah,
have so many lives.
right. Yeah, what life was Tabaxi on, do you think?
Gonna say 4.
Number 4. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right. And I don't know. Anything else jump out at you about that combat?
I really like the way one of my opponents, my companions, used their rope.
Yeah,
Very
but that
smart.
rope trick was, I'm not much of a wrangler. I just get in there and bash them, and so it wouldn't have occurred to me. Anyway, frankly, magic scares me, so I probably would have
Understood.
stayed as far away as I could from that rope. Yeah. Uh-huh. Anyway, I gotta say that you kind of stink, so I'm gonna let you go into the showers and take your shower. But it's been
Thank
nice
you.
chatting with you. Yeah. All
Take
right.
care, Stan.
No problem. Take care. So we're just gonna briefly regroup after the battle, even though the battle, just finished. It seems like minutes ago. You've all managed to like shower and change and stuff, which is pretty amazing. Um, and I guess I thought I'd lead in by asking you, Betsy, about the rope trick, because that seems so an unusual move to me. And I suppose you couldn't have anticipated doing that, since none of you knew that you were literally going to be like thrown into the pit. But where did that come from? Had you used that rope trick that way before, or seen somebody do it, or is that just like completely your own thing in the moment?
I'd never used rope trick before. I was just falling through the air and thinking of things that I could do, and it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, and it certainly was, but then it like developed too, right? Then it was like, well, I'm just going to stay on the rope and you know and do all kinds of stuff, and the swinging thing. I think that was really good. And then there was some after the fact debate online. I went onto Discord asking about like properties of rope trick. Like, okay, so we can briefly poll each other and see what that. So what do you think? Could Frank Bishop see Betsy below the rope trick? What do you think? Like, you're hanging from the rope. Can he see that?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking all of you.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
visible, right? Yeah, that was the consensus. And then, are you like attackable, or is somehow rope trick defend you? The consensus was attackable. So I guess
I mean, you're just kind of dangling there. It's like a pinata. You gotta be attackable. You're just a candy-filled paper mache.
Yeah, I think there was like some thoughts about like, but then there's the hole, and then like, does that mean if you're reaching down through the hole? I don't know. There was some subtlety.
I took it as more like a movable rod scenario.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but
A movable rod is different. Okay, but if you were to freeze that in the air, it's similar, but with a little more cover, maybe at least half cover.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
obviously, you know,
mean,
that spell wasn't like, you know, surprisingly, like this is all made up, right? You know, it's not real. But
wait, what?
yeah, I think that really brought out the interesting things about these made up things, right? Nobody had thought about that. I like that when it happens. You know, so just moving on to another like really great play was the Vortex Warp, which you know, I think ultimately how it worked was like we let it be stronger than it was, but I think it still would have worked. But that was awesome. And so, had you used that spell before, Pinder, or was it also?
Spur of the moment. Never played a sorcerer before. Played with many sorcerers. Usually, it's it's the reason I haven't played a sorcerer. Is everyone else I play with loves to play sorcerers. So
Okay, yeah,
I like to round it out. But you know, I was aware of the twin ability, and when I saw that spell, I was like, if I could pull it off, then I could stick one on top of the other, and we've
right.
got a solution.
Yeah, and that was great, and that just really precipitated the end of the combat. Which I mean, so there's like three like spontaneous things, like you know Betsy with the rope trick, not, and then you doing the vortex orb. But then for me, it was like that, like I'm role playing Frank Bishop, and I you know I had him say like I give up, and it was like oh I guess the battle's over, you know. And so you know it's too bad Brandon couldn't be here. He actually was about to be on this session, then he got called in to work. He's a very important guy. We knew that just from talking. And you know there was a couple of things that he played similarly to how he played in the first episode, which is really strategically. And I think I said this with Rob in our analysis. You know, like wherever he was, the monsters weren't. He just made a way to get it out. So you know, I know Eve, like you discussed briefly some things with Stan before coming into this interview. What you know. So Kasny, a barbarian, Tabaxi. Had you played those types before, or was it all new?
No, all new. I think I've played a barbarian, but it was so long ago, and never played Tabaxi. So
Yeah. So I've neither. I mean, just I've seen them played on live plays, and you know I'm seeing like when I've played a barbarian, I'm just like raging all the time and like attacking. Whereas like but this episode, you were doing a lot of you were talking about you did other like barbarian-y things like grappling, and you were like trying to jump on stuff a lot, and I really like that. Okay, so in you know any other thoughts about the session? Anything you think could be improved or you think didn't work? You know, it's putting you on the spot, but it was awesome. The whole thing.
it is deceptively deep, the pit.
Yeah, well, yeah. So the drawing looks like it's down, but I wanted it to be like yeah, deep, right? Yeah, I thought that was like kind of worked as a way to, I don't know, just change things up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, so that's it, really. I just wanted to invade the locker room. You guys, I'm sure, have got, even though you're showered, have got like team player stuff, and you don't need the DM in here harshing your buzz. So I'm going to get out of here and let you guys enjoy your victory. All right, cheers, everybody.
Cheers,
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Well, that about does her. Wraps her all up. Things seem to have turned out pretty good for the party. And it was a fairly good adventure. Made me cheer to beat the band. Parts, anyway. I didn't like to see the chain guy, Bill, go. But I happen to know that there's a little chain guy along the way. Well, look at me. I'm rambling again. I'll catch you on down the trail. This is Stan Partuce, reporting for Boss Battles.